for good night, people. Good evening and welcome to The Final Word with me, Natalie Sawyer, in for Majestic alongside the experienced Premier League manager that is Alan Pardew. And it has been a 5-star Sunday in the Premier League, with Arsenal now sitting 4 points clear at the top of the table as both Manchester City and Liverpool slipped 2 defeats this weekend. Gunners fans, you know the Sunday drill. 9 games in, are you starting to dream that the title is coming your way? 03717 223344. That's the number for you to call us on right now. The phone lines are open and we want to hear from you. Across North London, Spurs became the first team to win at Everton's new ground to go back into the Champions League places. On the South Coast, Bournemouth went second by beating Nottingham Forest. The boos rang out at Molineux as Wolves lost in the last minute against Burnley to remain rooted at the bottom of the table. And as I was saying, Arsenal fans, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from all of you. This is your chance to have your say on all of the footballing matters from this weekend. Remember, talkSPORT is bigger than ever. We're now on YouTube and in your smart TVs too, so why not come and watch us on the fantastic 17th floor here at the News Building. But as I say, it is all about you and your views, so call us up now, 03717 223344, to have your say to the nation on the Final Word phone-in. Alan, how are you?
I'm very well, Nat. How are you?
I'm very well too. How could I not be after last night?
Well, exactly. Your team doing the job on that, that team that loves to lose at the moment.
Crikey, I know.
Incredible.
Bizarre, isn't it, what's going on with Liverpool? 4th straight loss in the Premier League.
And Man United sitting above them.
I know.
And this is the channel for Man United fans. They love coming on here. And I can't believe that they are 6th. And for the first time that I can recall for about, I don't know, I'm probably wrong, but about 10 to 12 months, they have a positive goal difference. They are +1 as we sit tonight.
Hey.
Which is just, I've always said that is a massive problem for Man United until they address that situation of having a negative goal difference. And suddenly here we are. They're in the positive with 1.
Certainly handy to score 4 like they did yesterday. I know they conceded
Good goals
2.
too.
Yes, some terrific goals, which means they've won 3 in a row. They've won actually 4 of their last 5 in the Premier League as well. Maybe Ruben Amorim is now just getting it right. Manchester United fans, perhaps you want to tell us if that is the case or if you're still not quite sold on him as well. But as I say, there is loads of you that can get in touch to have a say on your team and how they have fared this weekend. And I'm sure a lot of Wolves fans will be feeling sorry for themselves.
Yeah, it's a tough old weekend for Wolves again.
Tough.
Yeah, the manager's got a new contract and wow, it's not really panning out there. But the league table just looks, okay, the Arsenal are at the top and obviously their fans would be jubilant this evening because the results have definitely gone their way. Bournemouth 2nd, Spurs 3rd, Sunderland 4th, and then you got Manchester City, Man United, Liverpool all stuck together, 15 and 16 points respectively. It's going to be one of those Premier League seasons. Before I did a little piece with Sam, and Sam was saying to me, who's going to be the biggest challenges for Arsenal? Very difficult to call at the moment, isn't it?
Very much so.
Yeah.
I suppose Bournemouth fans might be saying, hello, we're here.
Come on.
And they're doing brilliantly so. Likewise, now Tottenham fans might be thinking, hang on, we've just had a great win against Everton there. Not an easy place to go to with that new stadium, but they've pulled themselves back into the picture with that victory. And then there's the surprise team of Sunderland who are doing really well in the top 4 too. The usual candidates of Manchester City and Liverpool just stuttering a little bit.
Well, and when you look at the relegation zone, and it's now Nottingham Forest, West Ham United and Wolverhampton Wanderers, no promoted teams. All the 3 promoted teams doing reasonably well. Sunderland, of course, being the headline act, who have just been remarkable what they've done. 5 wins in 9 games is a fantastic return when you've just been promoted. So a really topsy-turvy kind of league, you could call it at the moment, but very kind of enjoyable, but very set play based, which we will be coming on to. Yes.
I think you're right to point that out. A lot of teams using set plays to their advantage, it feels, whether that's...
Or disadvantage.
Well, indeed. But corner corners of being one of Nottingham Forest's downfall this season, for example, and yet a team like Arsenal have been benefiting from them. Long throws back in fashion as well.
And I think the illegal long throw.
Yeah, you were saying this when we were watching the Everton game.
Because, obviously, long throws are a very big part of when I was a manager. It was particularly in the Championship. Every team used to have a long throw merchant, let's put it that way. And the referees were really strict on their follow-through. So when they threw the ball, their follow-through, they had to stay behind the line. But now it seems to be carte blanche. You can just throw it and walk onto the pitch. So your momentum is taking that ball much further than it normally would. So I don't know if there's referees out there or a referee who's picked up on that, is looking at that, would like to call in and suggest that I'm talking out of somewhere else than my mouth. But it does look illegal to me. And the Spurs one today, he literally launched it in there straight into the middle of the goal and was 10 yards on the pitch.
Yeah.
Like a millisecond after releasing the ball.
Well, if you've got a view on that, why not let us know this evening as well? But as it stands, it is all advantage Arsenal at the top of the table after their early victory today over Crystal Palace. It means they're 4 points clear at the top of the table. Let's speak to an Arsenal fan who's rung up this evening to have a little word with us. How are you doing, Chris?
Yeah, all good, Natalie. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can. You must be buzzing right now.
Good. Yeah, we're up. Me and Liam are on the way back from the game today. Yeah, buzzing. Another good 3 points.
Terrific 3 points, yeah.
Just want to say how solid we look and what a difference we are to last year. We were struggling against teams like Palace at home, particularly when we had a few injuries. This year we're having a few injuries. Our captain's out, Kai Havertz out, etc. Not missed at all. Our squad is so strong. We're so solid at the back as well. We don't look in any danger. Teams are worried about us, Natalie. Teams are worried.
Yeah.
Teams are just coming, parking the bus, and we're finding the answers at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say, you say the defence seems sound. The whole team looks sound, doesn't it? There's not really any kind of gaps or anything that anyone can exploit. And it's like a really great controlled approach in terms of, okay, it's a little bit staid at times, but the opposition are making no impact whatsoever.
No, and one of the players that goes unnoticed is Zubimendi, just in front.
Yeah.
He is quality. He reads the game. The amount of times he nicks the ball, he's good in the air. His reading of the game, brilliant. And again, just releases right as well as do his thing.
Just a final one for me, Chris. Are you daring to dream already that it could happen?
Natalie, we've been dreaming for the last couple of years, but this year, like I said, it does feel different. It does feel different. I think, the squad, I think we'll go close again. We can't have as good a squad as we've got and not nick something this year, surely.
Yeah. No. All right. Well, Chris, safe travels back. Thank you for calling in. And no wonder they're ecstatic, Arsenal fans, because it's just been a great weekend for you with that win over Palace and how other results have gone your way too. It's been a huge Sunday of Premier League action as well. We want to hear your views on it, especially if you're like Chris, you're dreaming of the title. That means Arsenal fans, we want to hear from you. Although perhaps someone else wants to call in and say, don't discount us yet.
No,
whoever that team is, let us know. This is your show. The phone lines are open. You can call us on 03717 223344. Come on, celebrate, vent, if that's what it is. And we'll hear from you next on the Final Word phone in on talkSPORT. Good evening. This is the final word on talkSPORT. It is a pleasure to have your company this Sunday evening, and it is Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer with you until 9. And this is your show, your chance to have your say on any of the footballing matters from this weekend. Just to let you know, over on talkSPORT 2, it is a night of NFL action. And Will Varney and Sam Harris will be bringing you the 49ers taking on the Texans. And then from 1 in the morning, Packers take on the Steelers with legendary quarterback Aaron Rodgers taking on his former team for the first time since he left 2 years ago. But for now, we're still taking your calls on a huge day of Premier League action with games impacting both the top and bottom of the table. So get in touch. 03717 2233 We want to hear from you on the final word, certainly. Let's get to Simon, a Wolves fan. Been a very difficult afternoon for Wolves because they were trailing 2-0 to Burnley, got it back to 2-2 and then conceded a late goal that meant Burnley left Molineux with all 3 points. Simon, good evening. How are you?
Hi, Natalie. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, Simon. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Pretty upset with today's result, obviously, as I'm sure you can imagine. Just got a couple of things I want to say. Firstly, obviously, I liked Vitor Pereira. I thought he was a great manager when he first come in. I thought, first the points, then the points, all of that. It was brilliant. Got the fans back together. He's just out of his depth now. He's way out of his depth. We've had no winning, this season. We've had no win except for the cup games. It's just not good enough. You're making substitutions at 70 minutes. It's not good enough. Go out there and get the game. You've not got to win. You need a result. It's pretty obvious that your job's kind of on the line. So I'm kind of confused as to why you've not just gone all out and just tried to get some points on the board. And then lastly, you've got players like Larson that, quality players that play for Wolves. They're not going to want to stay at Wolves for long, fighting a relegation battle. It's not good for the future of Wolves as well. And the fact that, history tells us that we have had back-to-back relegations. So again, as an avid supporter that travels all over the country, that's quite worrying times for us.
I mean, when you look at the stats, this is how it reads at the moment. Obviously, 0 wins, 2 draws, 7 defeats. That's 19 goals conceded, a goal difference of 12 and 2 points. And your last 5 games, lost, drawn, lost. That really, really is relegation written all over that. And something needs to change. Yeah. In terms of the squad, the boys that have gone and the ones that have come in this year, they're obviously, it's not working out. But what can you put your finger on what you think is the main problem Wolves are having compared to that spell, as you say, when he come in last year and kind of turn the form around? What do you think is the main difference?
I think, to be honest, he's lost the fans. He's lost. Of course, Wolves fans, a lot of Wolves fans that I know, they've got a big problem with Fosun at the minute, or the owners of the club. Yep. They don't seem to want to put any money in. So that's
where I was leading you to be honest, because it doesn't look like when you look at the window that he's had much help, and
he hasn't. No. And who else comes in? That's the next question as well, because I've been sort of battling myself, do I want him to go, do I not? I don't want him to go, but if he does go, who comes in? Who's going to want to come in to this?
Yeah, and the situation, look at Nuno, who's gone from Nottingham Forest to West Ham, and he can't turn that ship around at the moment. It's not an easy gig. The reason I was leaning to that conversation about the ownership and the investment in the summer was because this manager who did have the fans on his side is going to be the one who's going to fall on the sword because the ownership can get away with it. They bring a new manager in, and, you get buoyed by it, and hopefully you stay in the division. But it's typical of some of the regimes that you do have in the Premier League.
Vicious cycle as well, isn't it? Because like you've just touched on, it's happened before. It's happened with Nuno. It's not all Vita's fault, but I don't think he's helped himself I think some of the substitutions have been questionable. But there you go. You know, we still support them. I'll support them for
Do you go every week, by the way?
I do. Yes, I do. Every week.
Fair play.
We're there all over the country.
But can I just ask you very quickly? I mean, in September, he signed a new 3-year deal. At the time, were you in favour of that, or were you a bit bemused by it?
As much as I was bemused, again, I was in favour of Vita because, you know, I'm one of those fans that are aware that it comes from the top as well. But I'm now starting to be lost as well. Whether he's out of his depth or not, it's Gary O'Neill didn't get this long, and he did have the fans on side. He did, but then he lost that, and it's because we're doing the same sort of thing. There's no investment. They're selling our best players. You've got rid of Cunha, Aït-Nouri, and Semedo, and who have you replaced that's as good as? You know, you haven't.
Yeah, because you know, if you ask me as an ex-manager looking in from the outside, I would have said the biggest influence of that run last year was not so much the manager, although obviously he took credit and deserves some credit for it, but Cunha just come alive, didn't he?
Cunha, yeah,
and he knew that maybe he had big clubs sniffing around him, and he was playing, perhaps even excelling for his own ability, and obviously, you know, he was getting great results, and to take that out of the team and not replace it with with a player with perhaps not in his class, but somebody close to his ability would have helped the manager. But it sounds to me like the manager, unfortunately, here is going to have to take the hit for this unless he can turn it around, and God willing, he does.
Yeah. Just finally, then, Simon, are you worried? As in the sense of, do you think you are down already?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, a lot of Wolves fans will agree with me. I can't see three sides worse than Wolves. I think, unfortunately, as heartbreaking it is to say, I think we're the worst in the league at the minute. So I think it's written in the stars.
Well, the good news is that in the minute, which is quite right. In this moment, you are. But that's only 9 games in. We've got a long way to go.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. And what are you, 6 points off?
And a window. We always have to remember that about teams in a relegation zone. Suddenly ownerships, which weren't particularly active in the summer, they were sitting on their hands a little bit thinking, this will be okay. When they get in the shock of 10, 11 points coming around Boxing Day, then suddenly that window, that January window, suddenly there's some...
Found some change under the sofa.
Yeah, we found something that might be able... I hope this might be able to help you.
Yeah. Simon, thank you for your call. Wolves fans...
good luck. So great to hear, I love it, the fans go every week. They know the team. They can see the rhythm of the team. Yeah. And obviously he's seeing right now the rhythm of that team not going the way he would have hoped.
No, certainly not. Would love to hear from more Wolves fans, actually. It would be really fascinating to hear from you about how concerned you are then for this season. But as Alan has pointed out, it's still very early on. And if there was a managerial change, you might get that managerial bounce. Although, as you also alerted to there, we didn't really get that with Nuno, or haven't got that yet with Nuno at West Ham. Looking at the bottom 3 as it is, Alan, are you thinking that at least 1, 2 of those will be relegated?
I don't know, because as I say, it's a strange thing in the Premier League. Usually, if it was a promoted team in that position, sitting with 0 wins, I would say almost definitely they're not going to get. Because what happens when you get promoted, the board kind of think, okay, maybe we'll take the hit of going down and keep ourselves really financially strong and come back through the Championship again. Maybe Ipswich had that kind of feeling. I had that feeling about Ipswich a little bit last year. But because those 3 have been in the Premier League for different lengths of time, particularly, obviously, that the big club of the 3, perhaps, is that, in terms of stature in the Premier League, West Ham, you'd like to think that in January and before we even get there, that they'll have a pickup. So I don't see that at the moment. I think the one glaring team a little bit is Wolves, and that's the one that the stats just don't add up.
Yeah.
So I would be very, very worried if I was Wolves. If I was West Ham, Nottingham Forest, there's still plenty of time and room, but Wolves really got to get their act together fast.
Wolves fans, get in touch. Tell us what needs to be done then to save your season. 03717 223344. We want to hear from you next on The Final Word on talkSPORT.
The Ryder Cup. Unique, euphoric, unanimously loved. Here's the history and some of the key numbers behind the contest that grips the world of golf and beyond like no other. The first edition was held in 1927, where a Great Britain team arrived by boat to play in Massachusetts at the Worcester Country Club. Originally, the competition comprised of 4 foursomes and 8 singles, with 4 balls not introduced until 1963. In the first 22 editions, when it was just Brits and Irish against the US, America only lost 3. So, in 1979, in came the rest of Europe, including the future 5-time Ryder Cup winner, Seve Ballesteros. Since Team Europe was established, the head-to-head reads Europe 13, USA 9. Home advantage is a big deal. Europe's last away win was the miracle at Medina in 2012, and America hasn't won on European soil since '93 at the Belfry. It's accepted that both teams tailor their home courses to suit their own players. For example, in Paris in 2018, Thomas Bjorn asked for the rough to be kept extra long beyond the green to target the big booming American drives. 10 years earlier, Paul Azinger did the opposite, and the Valhalla rough was trimmed right down. On both occasions, the home side were resounding winners. So what about the money? The most recent Ryder Cup in Rome drew in a record 271,000 spectators and boosted the Italian economy by €262 million. In the US, the PGA America TV deal with NBC is worth $440 million. But no Ryder Cup revenue has ever gone directly to individual players. That's until now. In 2025, for the first time ever, the US team will each receive a fee for playing in New York. Of course, in Rome, legend has it Patrick Cantley refused to wear his cap because he wasn't being paid to wear it, though he insisted it simply didn't fit. Either way, Team Europe have made it clear they're more than happy to keep playing for the sheer thrill, joy and prestige of the Ryder Cup.
Welcome to the final word phone-in with me, Natalie Sawyer, alongside the former Newcastle and Crystal Palace gaffer that is Alan Pardew. And it's been a sensational day in the Premier League with 5 crucial games affecting the top and bottom of the league. Arsenal picked up all 3 points against Crystal Palace, and with Manchester City slipping to defeat at Aston Villa, the Gunners are now 4 points clear from second place Bournemouth, who beat Nottingham Forest today. Dare to dream then, Arsenal fans, that the title could be heading your way this season? Why not let us know? So that's the top end of the table, where it's all looking very rosy. A little bit different down the other end, where Wolves were booed off as they are stuck to the bottom with only 2 points after losing to Burnley, yet to win in the Premier League after 9 games. Saving the worst for last for our producer. Spurs became the first side to win at Everton's new ground to go back into the Champions League spots. Majestic will be overjoyed by that result, I'm sure, but Ross, our producer, less so. We want to hear your views on all of the games and more too. Call us right now on 03 717 223344 to air your views. The phone lines are open right now. Join us, have a chat with me and Alan. Remember, talkSPORT is now on your smart TV. Just grab the app on Android TV and Google TV. We're even on Prime Video. So come watch us in our brilliant new studio. But now it is all about you and your opinion. So as I say, as a reminder, give us a call 03 717 223344 to air your views to the nation on the final word phone-in on talkSPORT. All right, let's get straight to it, shall we, Alan? Because there are lots of people wanting to have their say on their team today. And we're going to go to a Forest fan. So, Mia, how are you this evening?
Hi, I'm all right. Thank you, guys. Are you?
Yeah, we're all right. We're all right. Thank you. A bit of a tough one for you, I suppose, today, considering the euphoria in midweek after that win over FC Porto. It didn't quite pan out at Bournemouth today.
No, it didn't. And yeah, you're right. You know, it was great to get a win. I'd forgotten what that feels like, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, I'm going to call the players out now because I feel like they've had a bit of an easy ride of it. Our defence last season was one of the best in the league. Mm. We got to where we were because of Murillo and Milenkovic, you know. And to be honest, I was watching the game today. I wasn't obviously, I don't go away, but I was watching it at home. And they just look devoid defensively. The team just look a little bit really sort of short of confidence. And sometimes I was kind of thinking to myself, you know, they don't look the same players. I do get that, you know, we've only had Elanga who left to go to Newcastle, and I think that was a big mistake because he was one of the main reasons, you know, we were getting Wood scoring all the goals last season and stuff. Mm. And I just feel like the chopping and changing of managers. I'm not going to be too hard on Sean Dyche at the minute because he's just come in. And he needs time to gel with the players. You know, he needs more training sessions to try and get his ideas across. But I do feel like some of these players are getting paid X amounts of money a week, and they're just not performing at the moment. And it's just frustrating because it pretty much is, you know, half of the same team as we had last season. And this time last season, you know, we were second, third, not dropping past fourth. And I am now worried. I do feel like we're in a bit of a relegation dogfight now. I wasn't so worried sort of a week or two ago, but I do feel like we are going to be scrapping down there at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, well, hopefully You've got the right manager to scrap away down there. But something I just want to touch on something which I think is relevant to what you're saying. Elanga moving and that pace he offered down that side has now gone out of the team, and that counter-attacking potency is a little bit less. But the one thing I want to just sort of highlight is momentum. How a team can get into momentum like Nottingham Forest did last year, where they're winning and they're winning, and the confidence oozes, and you bring people off the bench and their confidence is oozing. And likewise, when that happens, it's great. But of course, when it goes in full reverse, when you got that momentum of losing and you're getting into a bit of a rut, who's going to dig you out of it? Who's going to actually pull you out of that run? And that's where, I look at Nottingham Forest and I'm thinking Louise, he's got that experience. Gibbs White, do we need to see a bit more of his character coming through? Obviously, he had the big thing in the summer where he was going to had to do it kind of thing. The goalkeeper is terrific. The centre backs are still great. They're still the same too. So there's a lot of bonuses there. I think, Samir, at this particular time, what you're seeing is just more so when you say I'm calling out the players, probably a real lack of confidence going through the group. And that's difficult to reverse. But actually having an experienced manager in Sean Dyche in that situation, and he's had teams in that mode before, knows the tricks and the little bits and bobs you need to do to kind of get them out of it. And that might mean changing the team a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that game on Thursday night against FC Porto, which I was lucky to be at, they looked confident, actually. I mean, even Morgan Gibbs-White, who look, they're struggling in the Premier League as it is. So obviously it's inevitable. That means most of them are struggling. But he looked brilliant, I thought, on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Like the old sort of Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah,
but he just looked like a player playing with confidence. And then afterwards, Alan, he said in his interview, I finally can breathe.
Yeah.
Which goes to,
exactly.
Which I thought was interesting.
Well, the point to counteract that a little bit is as you know yourself, through the many years you've been a journalist in football, that cup games are kind of different. The pressure's not so much on, and you do get a kind of, not the Premier League, we can relax, it's a one-off game. And then obviously going from that euphoria to the league programme again, and the pressure, and we must win, and it's so important today, and you heap pressure on yourself, the locals, your family, everybody's in your ear, new manager, we got to get it going, and then it goes, it doesn't go to plan. It just knocks you back again. So, but I don't fear for Nottingham Forest personally. I think they're going to be all right. I think it'd have been very difficult to replicate what they did last year for sure. And maybe getting into the top 10 now would be the ultimate goal for them. But I don't see them getting relegated, personally.
All right. Well, Samir, thank you very much for your call. Samir, they're saying, though, her Forest team are in a relegation fight. Yeah.
We've had two callers on, like, obviously good supporters of their clubs, just genuinely concerned about looking like we're in a dogfight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Forest fans, do get in touch. Do you agree? Are you as worried? Or do you just think, come on, you'll be all right because Sean Dyche can get you out of this trouble? Let's get to another Arsenal fan. Anthony joins us. Evening to you, Anthony. How are you?
Evening, pals. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good.
I'm not surprised. Top of the table. It all feels pretty rosy for you.
It does, but we've been here before.
Was you at the game, Anthony, today? Was you there?
Oh, I wasn't, unfortunately, but I was watching it on the TV. I was watching it. I'm going to go out and say it's as far as it's ours to lose. Okay. It's Arsenal's to lose. Arteta has had the backing in the summer. He's now got the squad depth. We've got results more recently, whereas, say, last season, the West Hams, the Newcastle, Crystal Palace, we dropped points against. Whereas this season, we've grounded out a result. Today wasn't pretty by any standard. But at the end of the day, we've kept another clean sheet. We've got another 3 points, and we're starting to pull clear.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was interesting what Arteta said, because in his press after the game, he said, and what he was sort of pointing at was the fact how important this particular weekend was, with Liverpool losing and Man City going behind, etc., etc. The win against Crystal Palace to take all 3 points, not a point. to take all three and get that little cushion what they got now. It is one of those things that you might look back on, when you get to the end of the season and go, oh, that was a big weekend, that. Because it was a slippery one, wasn't it, Crystal Palace? They're a terrific team. And they didn't really hurt Arsenal. They had a couple of moments, but Palace, on the whole, usually have more moments in games these days. Did you sense that Palace were going to get into it, Anthony, watching it?
I was a bit worried with Mateta, but up top, because everyone knows he's a handful. At the end of the day, he can be a handful for any back four. But with the back four that we've got, and with the keeper as well, I think we've managed him pretty well. But like you just said with your previous caller, I think it's about momentum now and it's confidence. And you've got to go into the next game thinking, right, we've won the last one, we've got to go and win this one and the next one after that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got Brighton in midweek in the League Cup. Yeah, okay, rest the players, rotate the squad, go and get another win, keep the confidence building, and then we go back in the league.
Yeah,
and we keep going.
We're up with Burnley next weekend, which will be a tricky after their bit of momentum today. Another of those games that, when you become champions, you've got to go and win up at Burnley. They're the games that really test you. But as you say, it's all looking good. I mean, the one stat that really looks terrific at the moment is obviously goals against, 3 goals in 9 games against. That's the sort of form that, remember when Chelsea won that season, that famous season when they conceded something like 19 goals, 16 goals or something. John Terry will be on the phone in a minute to reminding me. But, that is a great as a group, as a manager and your team, you can point to that and go.
Well, that's why Arsenal fans should be confident about how things are going, in the sense, your defence is doing everything that they're supposed to do, and you're winning games as well. It's been great to chat to you, Anthony. Thank you very much. It'd be lovely to hear from more Arsenal fans and how buoyed you are about this weekend and how that puts you in pole position. And wouldn't it be nice to get your hands on that Premier League trophy once again? Tell us if you're feeling as happy and as confident as some of the Arsenal fans have already joined us this evening. 03717 223344. Ring up and have a chat with me and Alan here on The Final Word.
Yeah, come on, Madge, in the house.
In the house. Yeah, this is one of the songs from his latest EP, Reset the Dance Floor, Volume 1, and this is People in the House. Madge, not with us this evening. I'm standing in from Natalie Sawyer alongside Alan Pardew.
I mean, it should be in the house. He's not in the house.
He's been chucked out of the house.
He's out the house.
Yeah, check out his new EP though. I'm sure it is one for you all to enjoy. Certainly.
He's done that for the Christmas market, and Madge.
Oh, he's clever.
You know,
you've got to think these things, you know. Off. Yeah. Hence why he's not here. He's busy working.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing other things, promoting his new EP. And as I say, I'm sure you can find it wherever you get your music from. It is a pleasure to be here this evening alongside Alan Pardew, and we are taking your calls on all of the weekend's results. As it stands, it is now advantage. Arsenal 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League after their 1-0 win over Crystal Palace. That following Manchester City dropping points at Aston Villa today as they lost that game. Liverpool, as we know, have now lost 4 in a row in the Premier League. Their latest defeat coming yesterday at Brentford. So as it stands, in the Champions League places, it'd be fantastic to hear from Sunderland fans the day after how you're feeling still about, one, that result at Chelsea, but also just how this season has started for you, because it has been absolutely tremendous. But we're going to get to one of the teams who are doing really, really well, perhaps surprising everyone, which is Bournemouth, second in the table. Let's speak to JJ, Bournemouth fan, who joins us after the victory over Forest. How you doing, JJ?
Hi guys, I'm good, thank you. Well, to be honest, I couldn't really be much better. What more can you ask for? Longest unbeaten run currently in the Prem out of any team. And even I look at that, the only loss to Liverpool, and to be honest, if we played them any other time, I'd have quite fancied us to beat them. I think first game of the season, they were obviously up for it. I feel like we kind of set the blueprint because we gave it a good go. But I mean, either way, like I said, it's absolutely brilliant, the football we're playing. The players are so bought into the system. You look at who we lost, but it doesn't matter because we're so well coached now and the recruitment's so good that, yeah, I'm just dreaming of Europe. I just want those European away days.
And I would say, I think I would go as far as to say this. In Semedo, you probably got the best wide player in the Premier League. Would you agree?
I completely agree, Alan. Yes, especially on form. I mean, he's just taken his game to another level now. I think there's not many players in the league you look at who are game changers, but the games maybe I feel like I'm watching them, you know, it feels like a bit of a 0-0 stalemate when you just want something special. He's your man.
Yeah,
you can look off it.
Yeah, that is so important, isn't it? And I'll tell you something else about him, which has impressed me, is that he goes back and will pick up a centre back at corners, you know, at set plays. He's very reliable. There's not many wide players that can double up being a match winner and mark at set plays. You know, that's a particular trait of his. But I mean, you know, I don't want to take any gloss off anybody else in that team, or indeed the support down there, because it's terrific. I mean, what a season you're having. And, you know, do you think you can sustain it? What would be the big issues you think you could have around the corner? Obviously, there'd be injuries, key injuries perhaps, but outside of that, if you stayed injury-free, what would you think would be your issues?
I think the only issue we could potentially have, and I sort of similar it to Bielsa at Leeds, where it's such a high-energy team, the press is absolutely relentless.
Yeah.
The only thing you sometimes notice is a bit of burnout, and we did have injuries last season. We didn't end the season great. However, I do think we have much better depth now to deal with that. So, I mean, it's hard to say, but right now it just looks so rosy. I mean, we had a pivot that was just so vital of Cook and Christie last season, which looked hard to change. And now he's completely changed it up, and it's Scott and Adams, and you can't replace those. Every week they're incredible. I do want to touch on Tyler Adams, because I don't know why not enough people are talking. It's probably because he's still at Bournemouth. Maybe he's American. I don't know what it is. But he's unbelievable. Just watch Tyler Adams week in, week out. There's so many clubs who would be crying out for a player who intercepts it. 90th minute of the game today, I think it's a Wonyi breaks free on the wing. He's made a 60-yard recovery run to clear it up, and it's just, I mean, like I said, I could mention so many players, but
Yeah, it's nice though. It's nice to highlight somebody, that we don't normally get spoken about on talkSPORT. And that would be one of those names because, as a fan, you recognise, don't you?
Yeah.
Those players that are so important to the team.
Yeah, that do the hard graft.
And it's only like when, like Premier League managers, when we go to a club and you talk to your analysts and you say, come on, what's this team all about? And they say, oh, you know this, but you don't know this. And they'll throw a player at you.
So right though, there are players that get the headlines and then they're the ones that, as we say, just do the hard graft. But as JJ's pointed out, they're the ones that the Bournemouth fans appreciate as well as everyone else, but truly appreciate them too. The only thing I might ask you, JJ, very quickly, is, are you concerned the fact that Andoni Iraola, his contract runs out at the end of this season?
I mean, you could probably ask any Bournemouth fan in the world, and that is our main concern because, in my eyes, he's irreplaceable. I think he's one of the best managers in the world. I spoke to Cundy and O'Hara not long ago. I made the claim, I think pound for pound, based on what he works with, he's the best manager in the league. I mean, that you might think that's a bold claim, but
there is a name I would throw against him, and that would be Oliver Glasnost down at Palace.
Okay.
In terms of, obviously, he's won a trophy and got a trophy over the line for a team, not recognised as a trophy hunting team. Crystal Palace never won one before, by the way. But I do agree, and ironically, both are out of contract.
That's right.
I mean, how weird is that?
Yeah.
So not only Bournemouth fans, but Crystal Palace fans very nervous about losing their manager, which usually on this show is the last thing we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. But look, JJ, it's been a great start for you. I think it's
enjoy JJ, enjoy the momentum.
Absolutely, and I think it's Bournemouth's best ever start to a Premier League season. But I feel like we've said that quite a lot in recent seasons with Iraola at the helm. So impactful has he been?
Scored 16 goals, which is equal to all the top teams in the division.
Yeah,
and it's and usually when teams like Bournemouth are at the top of the league or Crystal Palace are up there, it's it's not because they've scored a load of goals. It's actually they've nicked goals and nicked wins, and it's sort of it's an unusual sort of position with the stats. But these stats are very much a team that are second. Goals 16, 11 against. Goal difference of 5. It's good. It's it's all going in the right way.
It certainly is. And more Bournemouth fans would be great to hear from you. Likewise, Wolves fans, how you're feeling about today's latest result, having fought back from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 at half-time against Burnley. You then conceded a 90th minute winner for the Clarets, who left Molineux with all 3 points. It means you're still searching for your first win of this season. You're rooted to the bottom, 6 points off safety, with only 9 games played even, which I think we still need to make sure people are clearly understanding that we're still very early in this season. But
you've got
it's worrying,
the thing that I always say on this show is you need to win 10 games to stay in the Premier League. That's your target. Okay, you sometimes can win with 9 wins or sometimes even with 8 wins, but when you got 0 wins after 9 games, then that task seems so much harder.
Very much so.
You got 29 games now to win 10. Then you start thinking, wow, is that possible?
Well, I just can't even comprehend what that dressing room must be like at this present moment.
Yeah, to lose when you haven't got any wins on the board and you've lost in the 94th minute or whatever. I mean, for Scotty Parker, they didn't start great, Burnley, but they've picked up a little bit recently. A great result for them.
Going to stay up this season as well. It'd be lovely to hear from you. There's lots of League Cup games coming your way live on talkSPORT this week, including Liverpool hosting Crystal Palace and Arsenal taking on Brighton. You can check out our website, talksport.com, for all of the information. But on the way, we're going to keep your calls coming into us, we hope. So please do get in touch on 03717 2233 44. We'll hear more from you next here on The Final Word Phone In on talkSPORT.
Premier League teams have got a load of crazy nicknames. Ever wondered where they came from? Some are pretty straightforward. Arsenal are the Gunners because they were founded by a group of munitions workers, and Bournemouth are the Cherries because their old stadium was built right next to a cherry orchard. Then there's Everton. They're dubbed the Toffees, but why? Well, because when the club was formed, just down the road there were two local toffee shops. Ipswich Town nicked their nickname off their opponents in the late 90s, Birmingham. The term Tractor Boys was chanted as a way to tease the team about their farming background, but they started using it themselves as a way to cheer on the team in victory instead. Take that, Birmingham. Let's head to Leicester, famous for more than just a red, well, orangey cheese and Jamie Vardy. Leicestershire's also the birthplace of fox hunting, hence the Foxes. Crystal Palace's nickname came from an extreme makeover. They were having a nightmare run in the 70s, and when they were relegated, their manager, Malcolm Allison, wasn't having it. I know what will make us better, he thought, a new nickname. The Strong and Deadly Eagle sounded like a pretty good bet. And there's more to that story. Brighton used Palace's nickname to inspire their own. Ooh, bird, they thought. Let's just pick a different one for us. And so, in a heated match between the two teams back in 1976, when Palace fans began chanting "Eagles, Eagles," Brighton fans had the perfect reply: "Seagulls, Seagulls." So next time the away end's chanting their crazy nickname, you'll now know exactly where it came from.
This is the final word on talkSPORT, and before we get to more of your calls this evening, we are giving you the chance to play to win up to £100,000. It is our biggest competition yet. £100,000. Yeah, that's right. Completely tax-free. And if you are the lucky winner, the excitement does not stop there, because you'll be coming to talkSPORT Towers on Thursday, the 13th of November, to play for that life-changing cash prize. So you might want a pen and paper handy for this one to write down all the details on how to enter.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
And we wish you the best of luck with that. So this is the final word on talkSPORT, where you can call us up and have your say on any of the footballing matters from this sporting weekend. But before we get back to your calls, let's just hear from the Tottenham boss, Thomas Frank, who's been speaking with talkSPORT's Alex Crook about set pieces after their 3-0 win away at Everton.
To do that in the Premier League, that it may be the most competitive Premier League I've been part of. No. I think it's the most competitive Premier League I've been part of. This is my 5th season here. So to do that away from home, which we know is extremely difficult, with, how can you say, a relatively new group, or we need to put things together, I think is so positive. We need to keep going, keep adding layers.
So a win for Tottenham that moves them up to 3rd in the table. So let's get to a Tottenham fan who joins us this evening to chat all things Spurs. Joey, how are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you. Thanks, guys, for having me on. It's great. Like I say, the result's brilliant. I think Alan was on a couple of weeks ago when I was chatting to Majestic about Vicario needs replacing now. Last 2 games, he's had a man of match performance in midweek. He pulled off some good saves today. Yeah. Just wondering where it's been. It's great to see us have a keeper like this. So, I think I'm excited about it. Like, I got asked, before, are we going to be champions, contenders with Arsenal? But I think it's too early for that at the moment. I think we're missing some key players. And it's exciting because when these key players come back, I think we're going to have parts of the missing puzzle. I still think 5th and 6th would be great for us for this season and build on for next season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously an impressive result today. I mean, in terms of the actual game, and I think the Thomas Frank was quite right. He's talking about the most competitive league he's experienced in the 5 years he's been here. I'm thinking what he means by that is the spread of quality across the teams, and particularly on set plays. All the teams are very, very competent, and to score a couple today was great for them. But I thought today Spurs had resilience about them. And that's always a word that you don't associate with Spurs teams. And Paulinho, I thought, was outstanding today. He did a lot of things, what we was talking about earlier, those things that people don't really notice. And when you're away from home, that holding midfield player, that security net, that kind of covering up for some of your offensive players that don't possibly fill all the holes was so important today. And I'd give him a massive star rating. But, this is a big win for Spurs. I still think, I don't know about what you think, Joey, I just think going forward, I think at the back, I think you're contenders. Okay, the goal is still question marks from a lot of Spurs fans, including Madge, who's not a great fan. But I just think at the top of the pitch, you're still lacking a little bit. Would you agree with that?
I completely agree. I think, Moani, I think it's too early to tell whether he's going to become good. I think when we get, we're missing Kulusevski on the wing, we're missing Solanke. I think when them 2 players come back into it, we'll see what happens, how well the team fits around it. But like I say, I watched the game, the second half, and I had an Arsenal fan over my shoulder watching. He goes, "Paulinho he's actually been a good player," and I think he's missing key. He's missed puzzle we've been missing for quite a few seasons.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is.
We missed someone up when we got someone up top. Yes, we won't be title contender, and it hurts me to say it so much. But Arsenal just look like they've got strength. They've got a little bit of depth in them to actually, if they do have problems, they've got something to cover, and they're getting the results. It's painful to watch, but. Every team slips up eventually, and they did have a bit of a downturn towards the end of last season.
Well, Arsenal fans were having the perfect weekend until you won, so at least you spoiled that.
Like I say, it's a bit hard, seeing them doing so well at the top. But hey, someone's got to ruin a party at someone's party. So, like I say, it's too early to tell. But like I say, every team's got to slip up. There's 4 points in it, and we've got to play them. In a couple of weeks' time. So
that's true. Good. Indeed. Listen, Joey, thank you. Enjoy the victory today. And in fact, what is it? November the 23rd is that North London derby at the Emirates first. So not long to wait for that one. Speaking of the Emirates and Arsenal, they are top of the table, 4 points clear now of Bournemouth after their win over Crystal Palace. And Gaffer joins us to talk about it. An Arsenal fan. How are you, Gaffer? You must be absolutely delighted how this season's panning out so far.
I'm buzzing, absolutely buzzing. How you guys doing? You all right?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, we're good.
Good. Just before speaking about Arsenal, on what Thomas just said, with the league being so competitive at the moment, I mean, I'm just absolutely loving it because the last 3 years, I think, have been every team that comes up are the ones that are getting relegated, and there's about one or two people at the top fighting for it. Everything else is, it's just boring. And this year, it's just been amazing. I'm seeing big results from small teams. I'm seeing big teams get beat.
Yep.
We saw Sunderland deal with Chelsea. We saw Sunderland deal with a couple of teams so far. And it's just, altogether, the league's just a lot better than it has been the last 2-3 years. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
Yeah, well, I do. And I would like to doff my cap to the 3 teams who have come up, because after the last 2 years, they mentally could have been destroyed before they even started.
100%.
Yeah, and
100%.
they've come in and attacked it, and fantastic for them. And Sunderland, I mean, have really ripped up the rule book in terms of winning 5 out of 9. Incredible.
It's incredible. I don't remember the last time I've seen a team come up and do what they've done. It's amazing. But yeah, on to Arsenal, on to the main thing. I feel like, I don't know whether I need to be scared or do I need to be happy, because my dad's an Arsenal supporter as well, and every time I go and have a chat with him about the result, or we watch a bit of the game together once he comes back from work or whatever, and he's just like, we need to get these open play goals. We get set piece again, and he's scared about it. And I'm telling him, don't worry about it. We're getting the win against the teams that, we, in the last 2-3 title races, we were coming short against the Fulhams and the West Hams and like today, the Palaces. And we're getting the 3 points, and that's what that matters. But he's saying it's not sustainable. What do you think, Alan?
Well, I genuinely think that your dad has some kind of a point, really, because you want to see, and I think if you're going to win the title, you want to have that kind of flair in the team, and you want to have that excitement of, creating a one-touch kind of 4 or 5 player move. But I think that will come, and it does come from taking the lead early, maybe from a set play. You get that confidence, and those goals will turn up at the moment. But this is across the whole league, by the way. Set plays are really at the top of the agenda, and they're becoming very influential, more so than any other season in the Premier League. So it is a kind of unique moment we're in. Whether it continues for the whole season, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and just one more thing that I wanted to speak about is, I mean, just how we mentioned the goals and Arsenal not getting the open play goals, and a lot of talk about Gyökeres not scoring, and everyone's on his back, and especially rival fans, and no one's having a chat about how we've only conceded, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 3 goals in the Premier League this season.
Absolutely.
And that is what Arteta's done with that back four. I mean, a lot of people were complaining about Calafiori and etc. And the way he's just got it together. I mean, we had Saliba come off on the 45th minute today. I remember we had Saliba come off in the first 10 minutes in the Liverpool game, even though we lost that game by a worldie. He's putting Mosquera on, and this defence just looks so solid. It's giving me like Chelsea flashbacks from when Mourinho was there at the start, and I feel no one's talking about what Arteta's done with this defence. I don't remember the last time in the Premier League that I saw a team where you go up against them and you just don't know how you're going to get a goal whatsoever. I mean, especially with the smaller teams. I mean, with the bigger teams, yeah, they've got the class there, but I think the difference is this season, when we're coming up against the Palaces and the Fulhams, they just can't find a way through, and I don't think Arteta's getting enough credit for that.
No, I think you're right. And what I will say is when you see the contrast between the defensive work of Arsenal and the defensive work at Liverpool at the moment, there is a massive gulf. There's a massive gulf. So, sitting as you are at the moment, you can go and enjoy your glass of wine, your Coca-Cola, or your coffee, or whatever you're having.
Your beverage
enjoy.
of choice.
A beverage of choice.
Yeah, definitely, Gaffer. Enjoy it. That is for sure. But yeah, I mean, 14 goals Liverpool have conceded already this season, which is quite a concern, really.
I wouldn't call it a concern. I mean, that is more than a concern if you're a Liverpool manager.
No, you're right.
I mean, we all, and I was one of the ones who was very much about Man United being a team that are going to struggle a little bit still defensively this year, and they've conceded 14. And so, that is pretty predictable, I think. but they've managed to turn it around, got a positive goal difference by actually scoring 15. Liverpool, you would never have said at the start of the season that they would concede 14 goals in 9 games.
9 games.
Wouldn't.
I know. Their last clean sheet, you have to go back to their 1-0 win over Burnley on September the 14th. And I was reading a stat. Since the start of May, Liverpool have conceded 2+ goals in more Premier League games than any other side.
Yeah,
with 9.
And then their next Premier League game is Palace.
Yeah.
They've had a few problems with Palace just recently.
Indeed. We will see how this all pans out for them. But yeah, certainly back to the drawing board. It certainly feels for Arne Slot. I'm sure we'll get on to Liverpool at some point, but we would love, of course, to hear from you as well. And on the way next, we're going to be hearing from the Everton boss, David Moyes, on the final word here on talkSPORT. I've got an Everton fan who is concerned.
What, a producer? Ross, is he?
No, and another friend, shall we say, who's been in touch, concerned about their season after that performance today, so he was saying. But we'll hear from David Moyes. Everton fans, are you worried? Are you concerned you'll be dragged into this dogfight at the bottom end of the table? You are 14th currently. 03717 2233 44. Come on air and have your say on the final word. Good evening. This is the final word here on talkSPORT. We're going to be chatting more about this fascinating Premier League weekend where we have seen Arsenal remain top of the Premier League. They're 4 points clear now of second place Bournemouth, Tottenham up to third, Sunderland make up the top four, and there was defeats for Manchester City and Liverpool this weekend. Teams, of course, that were expected to be in this title race. And let's not forget Chelsea as well. One of the top four sides from last year. They also suffered defeat this weekend. So we want to hear from all of you and have your views on all of the footballing matters. But before we return to your calls, let's turn our attention to what's happening in Mexico, because the latest, I know you are so excited for the Mexican Grand Prix. That's going to be getting underway at 8 with Britain's Lando Norris on pole. So joining us forward to this race is talkSPORT John Jackson. How are you doing, John?
Good evening. Yeah, I'm very, very much looking forward to this as much as Alan, because it's one of those races that really could have a huge impact on this title race, with Oscar Piastri only 14 points ahead of Lando Norris, but Norris starting on pole position, and Piastri has really struggled with the car all weekend. I've watched all the sessions and he starts down in 7th place. And there's a real chance that he could go into next week not the championship leader, which he's been for quite a long time. And then, of course, you've got Max Verstappen starting on the 3rd row, and you know that Max can win from 5th place, and Max has won the last few races. So, yeah, it's a fantastic race ahead. And I think when Lando's on pole position, there's normally drama on the first lap, and it normally involves him. So I'm expecting a bit of chaos to start with just after 8.
Yeah, I mean, I always worry when Lando, it always seems to kind of get a little bit stuck, doesn't he, on that first lap? The one I fear today for Lando, because obviously I want Lando to win, is Lewis in 3rd, and he's right behind Lando, isn't he, on the grid?
He is, yeah. He's 3rd place. Good laps from the Ferraris yesterday.
Yes,
Ferrari have had another torrid season, so I think you have to watch out for them. In a way, with them wanting to do well, of course, they'll be keeping the likes of George Russell, Verstappen, Antonelli and Piastri behind Norris. So if Norris can get a good start, then in theory, you're going to have those two teammates who aren't going to be battling it out with each other so much, because they don't want to cause any chaos, because, Ferrari need all the help they can get, and they need a bit of success to keep the Italian fans happy. So it could be a perfect situation for Lando. But as you say there, Norris off the line, sometimes he's a little hesitant. We've seen all the stuff about his tape on the walls. I don't know if you've seen that, where, there's talk of maybe Red Bull trying to pull the secret bit of tape off that Lando has to line himself up. They've just been doing it on Sky Sports. I've just seen they've had a whole feature on that tape, and they've got special tape that if you try and pull it off, it kind of leaves remnants of it on there. It's all, sort of pre-scored. So a lot of tape chat there, but yeah, it's a fantastic racetrack, and there's also the altitude that comes into play in Mexico City. I've lucky enough to have been to this track 3 times, and 20% less oxygen in the air at 2,240 metres above sea level. So you have to take that into consideration. It's going to be tough on the drivers, it's going to be tough on the cars as well. And Red Bull have brought some extra parts which should suit them in these conditions, while most of the other teams have stuck with what they've got. So there's so much in play this evening.
Yep, can't wait.
I must say, John, before we move on to Forest, because I want to chat to you quickly about your team, Forest. The setup in our studio right now is just F1 heavy. Every monitor has the F1 on, even the giant screen, which we were saying earlier on, when they showed the sort of in-cockpit camera, it's like a simulator for us. It's brilliant.
Well, have you got the live timings on the screen? You get the live timings on there as well, and you're absolutely laughing. I have to say, if you've just seen the big deal that Apple have done in the United States with F1, so they're going to be broadcasting F1 for the next 5 years or so.
Wow.
With Apple, with their virtual reality goggles type things. Yes. Imagine that. You're probably going to have, I don't know whether Apple have the power, but I would imagine they do, to maybe put a camera on the car that is only for their headset, so you can literally see what Lando Norris is seeing. It's going to be, the possibilities are endless, and that's going to be a fascinating thing to watch away from the track.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it just gets crazier and crazier, all this technology.
Maybe we could get it for Matt Sells, and we could see what he was doing with that corner in that Forest game today.
Well, I was going to ask you about Forest. Obviously, we had Samir on before, a Forest fan. She's really worried, thinks you're in a dogfight this season. Coming off the back of that great win over FC Porto, an unchanged team as well, if memory serves me right. It just didn't work today, did it? Unfortunately, at Bournemouth,
it didn't work at all. It was only Zinchenko that dropped out because he got injured.
That's right.
Nico Williams, who's probably the only player to come away from the game with any kind of praise because he put a shift in despite everyone around him not really performing. It was disappointing. They looked a bit lazy. Not lazy. They looked a bit sort of, beleaguered because they're not used to playing Thursday and Sunday because obviously Forest have not been in Europe for so long. And I think Sean Dyche was very fair in what he said after the game in that, he's not going to go too hard on the players because they've had to cram so much in this short space of time.
Yes.
I mean, some of these players signed under Nuno and then they've since had Ange, that whirlwind that we don't want to talk about, and now they've got
hold on,
Sean.
Hold on a minute. How many teams have stayed in the Premier League after changing their manager 3 times in one season?
Oh, I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know.
And there might be another one. Yeah, if Sean don't get it, Sean's a friend of mine, but you've got to be careful with that owner.
Yeah, there is talk of that. I have to say though, Sean was, I think, very fair about VAR. I'm sure you've heard that clip.
Yeah, he's very.
And the just before the one they scored from the corner, they had another corner that was not a corner because they checked it and it didn't quite go out of play. And 2 corners there that shouldn't have been corners, and I said, you watch, this will lead to a goal now, and obviously it did lead to a goal, and I don't think the push on the goalkeeper was much of a foul, but you can't really put the loss down to that. They just didn't look in the game at all, and I'm really hopeful that next week, I really don't want that bloke who's growing his hair for Manchester United. I don't want him to cut his hair yet because I want him to have a bit more time in the limelight, so I'm hopeful that Sean can put a job on Manchester United and even just get a draw next weekend. That'll be fantastic on Saturday.
Well, listen, John, it might be a bit of a roller coaster ride this season for you as a Forest fan, but maybe just enjoy the F1 today.
Yeah, I think we're all going to enjoy it, and we'll keep you up to date on talkSPORT throughout the evening.
Brilliant. Thank you, John. That's John Jackson then. So regular updates on this Mexican Grand Prix, which, as I say, Alan...
John made an interesting point, I thought, there, which I've noticed a little bit more this year than I've noticed for a long while, is that keepers are definitely being bumped on a regular occasion. Now, there was a time, and you get these sort of directives that come through the referees. You mustn't interfere with a goalie, blah, blah, blah. We've had them over the years. But this year, it seems to be like a bit of a free-for-all on goalies. They're finding it a lot more difficult. And, of course, a lot of the goalkeepers in the Premier League are foreign goalkeepers. And then it's not until they come to the Premier League do they really get examined by set play pressure that we exert, and that is bumping, grinding, blocking, simulated plays, etc., etc. So that bump on, what do we have? 3 goals today, and all the 3 goals that I see go in all got bumped by the opposing players. Bumped.
It's a nice way of putting it. Just a little bump. A little
friendly nudge. I mean, back in my day in the 80s and 90s, it was more than a bump, let me tell you. The goalkeepers seemed to be a little bit more tougher in them days.
Maybe so.
Oh, they definitely were, trust me.
Yeah. And there's, the element of VAR nowadays as well, which you'd like to think sometimes will get involved in some of those decisions. But equally, football is a physical game, so you have to expect the odd bump along the way.
The game.
Speaking of which, Everton maybe had a little bump in the road today in their 3-0 loss at home to Tottenham. We'll be speaking about that one next. If you want to have your say on how you feel, Evertonians, about how your team are going to fare this season, why not get in touch? 03717 2233 44. Join us on the final word next.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against a real prospect, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Welcome along to the final word on talkSPORT with me, Natalie Sawyer, in for Majestic, alongside, of course, Alan Pardew. Soon we're going to be bringing you the final word on the weekend action as Liverpool lose again, this time to the mighty Bees. And it's all smiles in the northeast, an area Pards knows particularly well, and at Old Trafford for once too. But right now we are giving you the greatest quiz on radio, the Mystery Footballer Song Quiz. So 3 songs in total we will play you, which will lead you to the player who is obviously our mystery footballer. Remember, it can be songs based perhaps loosely on the clubs he played for, his trophy collection, a nickname, or even a famous football attribute. Okay, he utilised that as a hint, I'm told. I do not know who this one is, because you've all been a bit sneaky and not told me, but...
Well, you know.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Well, actually, this one is my choice.
Okay.
A particular reason.
All right.
There's a clue. There you go.
All right, well, let's have a listen into our little montage, DJ Kitch.
I don't want to rock, DJ.
Right.
You're making me feel so nice.
I have never heard that song. Did you pick this song as well?
I did, yeah.
As in this one you play regularly?
Well, I don't play it regularly, but it's a good song.
No, never heard. What is this song? It's gone down this
It's
weird.
brilliant.
Oh my gosh, I don't like it. No.
Aggression.
Really
That's what you need in your
gone
midfield.
down.
That's what you need in your central midfield, a bit of that.
Okay then, so those are your 3 songs that may lead you to this mystery footballer. All you have to do is text us the answer to
I'm going to say something now, right?
89,
Can I just say something now?
Go on.
The first song that we played in
Yes.
that montage wasn't actually the song that I put down. And I think Kish is in big trouble with me.
Oh my
because
God,
he knows
VAR right
not
now.
only will he get a yellow card, I will definitely fine him, coffers massively, if he's got that wrong.
Do you want to tell us what the song was, or was that going
Well,
to give
no, I'm going to just see what comes back from the producer. See what comes. There might be some other reason they've played it. Might be a contractual reason.
I hear
It might
you.
be an issue that we have. I don't know.
VAR, that's
he's
what I'm
raising his
saying.
eyebrows.
There's an intervention. Right, we're going to the monitor. We'll find out later what happens with that
We're
one.
going to VAR.
You could also send us a WhatsApp, by the way, if you think you know who the mystery player is. 03717 22 3344 is the number to send us that on WhatsApp. Now, let's get to the late kickoff today, in which Everton lost 3-0 at home to Tottenham. We've got Gary, the Everton fan, who's going to be speaking to us in just a moment. But before we hear from him, let's hear from the Toffees boss, David Moyes, who spoke to talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, about his shot-shy strikers.
It's a huge concern now. You know, I think as managers we want to give our players encouragement. We want to make sure that we are incredibly supportive, which we are of the two of them. But ultimately, you're here to score the goals if you wear number 9s, or that's what you see yourself being. So we need to look to see if we're creating big enough or good enough chances for them. But quite often as a striker, you know, we might not always be getting it, but you've got to find a way of getting a goal yourself. That's your job, and we'll keep encouraging them, but we need them to do better.
Okay, interesting there from David Moyes there, referring to Beto, who started in this game, and then Barry came on to replace him. Neither, unfortunately, able to make a mark in this game. But let's speak to Gary, the Everton fan who joins us this evening. Gary, a difficult afternoon it turned out to be for your team.
Yeah, it was, Nat. I just don't see a goal in us. I think we were very predictable. The lad up front, Beto, he runs and runs, but he just reminds me of like a loose horse in the Grand National. You know, the jockeys fell off. He just doesn't know where to go. You know what I mean? He's either not close enough or he's in the wrong place. But we're going to struggle. If we don't get goals, we're going to struggle big time.
I mean, you know, from where I see Everton, you have this amazing talent in NJ. You know, this guy who's got such nimble feet, but actually, when it comes down to shooting, he's not one to get shots off, is he? You know, he's obviously very creative and creates openings for you. But David Moyes' comments after is very much a frustration of Premier League managers when, you know, you are looking to your number 9 to like create something himself. Okay, yeah, you need the team to like put crosses in and everything else, but sometimes you need to just like get it on the half turn and have a bang. Like Harry Kane does on New, and you know that's the one gift that Harry Kane has. He doesn't. You have to create chances for him. He'll create one himself. I mean, Garrett, what do you think about the actual team, the way it's creating chances? Do you think there's an issue there as well as the striker issue?
Well, we've got Jack on one side and Dewsbury Hall, who sorts the team up, and we've got Njai, but it's the finish, it's the end product, Al. You know, Njai gets in some great positions and he is a good player, but that end product, when he should get a shot off or he's trying to cut back inside and it gets cut out, and it's so frustrating. And I know Jack Grealish is a good player, but I don't think I'd buy him in the summer for 50 million, because I think Jack Grealish's game, it could probably go overnight. And I don't want a 30-year-old Jack Grealish. I think we should be looking for the next 22-year-old Jack Grealish, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it's coming to the end of it. Is, I'm going to say, not his career, but he's a bit slow today and a little bit behind the play. But I just think creating chances and what we've got up front, we're going to struggle if we don't find a goal scorer, find a new centre forward. I think we get some good crosses in, but our two lads up front, they seem to be off the pace, Al.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree, and that's going to be a worry because you started so well, and the stadium looks magnificent. By the way,
yeah.
Have you been, Gary? Did you go?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The stadium is fantastic, absolutely brilliant. You can't fault it. It's a brilliant stadium. It really is.
It's not often, you move it from such a, iconic ground that you had at Goodison. Obviously, I played there so many times and managed there. It was so on top of you. It was so intense. To move to a new stadium and more or less all the public go, it's worked. It's worked.
Yeah.
Which is a massive bonus for David Moyes. And as you say, if he could just get a striker, getting some goals for him.
But, that has been a challenge for Everton, hasn't it, really? Because with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, when he had that brilliant sort of period where he was scoring goals predominantly, quite to the point where he became like Harry Kane's understudy for England. Then he got injured.
It was many moons ago.
Yeah, it was. No, it was. And since then, though, it's been a struggle. Beto's not really been able to find form. Now you brought in Barry, and he's not really getting the rub of the green at all.
Who went to Spurs, who was at Everton, was had a decent spell.
I don't think we've had a striker since Lukaku. We haven't since Lukaku left Everton.
Yeah,
we haven't had a quality striker. I know Calvert-Lewin. He was probably our best striker even when he was injured because we had other players there, but he was just injured all the time.
Yeah,
Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But we haven't had a prolific goal scorer since Lukaku. And I said that a couple of months ago. Since Lukaku left Everton, we haven't had a good number 9.
So are you worried then, Gary, for your season?
Well, if you don't score goals, you end up down there. No matter what, you can't live on 0-0s and trying to hold on. We have every game we've had this season. We've had 20 minutes, half an hour of real good, intense pressure, and we haven't scored in some of them pressure times. And that's when you need to score, when you're in the ascendancy of in that position, and we don't score. And when we don't score and when we're in that position, then we start to struggle, and the other teams.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I thought today there was periods where you played well. Your game plan was okay. There was nothing, wasn't much between the sides. But as you say, the cutting edge and set plays were the difference. And unfortunately, you don't want to have a season where that keeps being the difference.
Absolutely, 100%.
Gary, thank you for calling in. You're more than welcome to join us like Gary has done. 03717 223344 is the number to call us on. Now, before we...
Can I just go back to Everton, right? Because when I was a player, we come up against that Everton team of Peter Reid and co. And that pressure they used to exert on you of winning the second phase. So they would have an attack, and then as it kind of broke down, they just won it back straight away. And they went again and went again and went again and went again and went again. And in the end, it just wore you down. And I think when you haven't got strikers, that's not a bad game plan. Just keep the pressure right on. Yeah. And Everton didn't manage to do that today. They had periods where that happened a little bit, but it kind of dropped off. And then Tottenham had some time on the ball and, can create some chances. So that is something that I think David, being an experienced manager and knows the Premier League better than anybody probably currently managing, with the experience he's got, will maybe recognise that. And sometimes you have to work round the fact that you ain't got that number 9 who's going to create a chance or get a goal out of nothing for you. So you got to keep constant pressure on to create enough chances to nick those goals. So that might be something to look at later on in the season, whether that kind of evolves for Everton.
Okay. Before we refocus about the joy at Brentford and misery for Liverpool, we should bring you an update on what's happening at this Mexican Grand Prix. Not from you, Alan, even though I know you're keeping very much glued to it, but from John Jackson.
Well, as Alan will have just seen, it's lap 9. Let's get with the important stuff. Lando Norris is still leading the race, 2.695 second lead. So that's great if you're a Lando Norris fan. At the start, it's a big long run down into turn 1. Obviously, cars jostling for position. You go 3 wide into a corner, it's fairly risky. You go 4 wide, it's pretty catastrophic normally. However, Max Verstappen, who was on the outside nearest the wall, had to basically go off the road, go across the grass. He made his way back onto the track, and they're still looking into all the drivers that kind of cut the corners, and they're all noting all these infringements infringements and they're looking into them. So there could be penalties being handed back down. But it looks like most drivers got themselves back into the place they should have been had they not gone across the grass. What I will say is that Lewis Hamilton has just been noted for going across the service road incorrectly. That's basically if you go off the track, you're given rules on where you can't go or how you rejoin the track. I don't know that will come to much. But Ollie Behrman, in the terms of British drivers, has gone from 9th to 4th. He put a good move on Max Verstappen just now. So if you're a British fan, things are moving well. Lando Norris leads on lap 10 of 71. He's got nearly a 3-second lead over Charles Leclerc, with Lewis Hamilton 3rd and Ollie Behrman, the rookie, 4th for Haas.
Yes. And Ollie Behrman will be a world champion. There's my prediction of the day.
That's a massive prediction already to come out with that.
I'm even going to give a time span. He's got 4 years to do it.
4 years?
That's it. He'll get one across the line. That's my prediction. That's how good he is. Anyway, brilliant for him. But Norris leading. Go on, Lando.
You can see what's going on in the studio. Alan is very much across what is happening at the Mexican Grand Prix, and every screen in the studio has the Grand Prix on. But we will get back to the football as well. In particular, after the break, we'll talk about what happened on Saturday, what turned out to be a bit of a nightmare for Liverpool, their 4th Premier League loss.
The nightmare was where? Where was that?
That happened to be at a little place called Brentford.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That little West place.
Indeed. The G-Tech Community Stadium in particular. So we will look back on that and, just...
And you was at the game?
I was at the game.
So you can voice your own opinion?
Well, I will.
Yeah, good.
After the break, here on The Final Word. Good evening. This is the final word on talkSPORT, and you're in the company of Alan Pardew and Natalie Sawyer as we take you through until 9 this evening. We are on Mexico Grand Prix watch as well. We'll keep you regularly updated on that here on talkSPORT too. But we are now going to discuss what turned out to be a nightmare Saturday evening for Liverpool, as the defending champions lost 3-2 to Brentford in the late kickoff, which is their 4th Premier League loss in a row. It still seems quite balmy to say it, really, Alan. Considering the start that they made this season with their unbeaten in their first 5 games.
Although they didn't play well.
No, that was going to be my next point. We kept sort of saying, but they haven't quite clicked yet. And now they've gone further backwards in not being able to win their last 4, and that they've lost them. And their defence, which at one time we would talk about Virgil van Dijk as one of the best defenders in the world, rock solid with obviously. Okay, Trent with his defensive abilities may not be as great as some, but still, with Robertson on the other side as well. There was just lots to love about their defence. But right now, they are leaky. They have conceded 21 goals in all competitions already. If Arne Slot had any hair, he'd be losing it for sure. But sadly, he's just going to be scratching his head right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the keeper's injured, and they've got this young keeper in who's,
Yeah, Mamashvili.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's been poor, but it's just it's a different character. So you got a different character in goal. You got Kerkez, who really is struggling in that Liverpool shirt. I mean, I don't care how you dress it up. He's come from Bournemouth, where he had an outstanding season, mainly through his attacking play. I have to say, he's been found out a little bit defensively, and I thought he struggled again the other night. Bradley on the other side, there's always been kind of in and out Liverpool team, and they're not regular, so he's on the other side. Kanite in the middle of the and Van Dijk. I mean, they genuinely look like they've had a row over something. Like, I don't know. Perhaps he's nicking Van Dijk's meal at the training ground, or there seems to be a lack of kind of looking after. Well, the one thing about centre backs is they look after their fullback and they look after each other. That is the key to a back 4. So the left side centre half looks after the left back, but he also looks after his fellow centre half. You have to protect. That's your area, and neither of them are doing that job. So therefore, that is a massive problem for Liverpool. And then when you look in front of that, Jones played yesterday on Saturday, and Szymanski played. So McAllister didn't get a game. So why didn't McAllister get a game? So I think there's an issue there about who's the right Gravenbach wasn't there. He was the glue that from last year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot you could point out. Salah, okay, not doing the work perhaps he's done in the past down that side. It's particularly defensive work. Gakpo's not a natural defender. He's outstanding as a forward defensive player. So there's a lot of weaknesses defensively when you actually analyse it. And I think Arnie really is like searching, particularly, I think, at the back and in that central area of a stability. And when you put Wirtz in that mix as well, now this boy who's come second most expensive player in Europe after Isaac, who obviously is now injured, another new face. Ekatike at the top of the pitch, another new face. So there's a lot of new, isn't there, when you start analysing it? And I think this is their problem. It's like an unfamiliarity. And the point you made to me was they don't look like a team.
No.
They look, that was your overriding emotion, wasn't it? And I mean, you've seen enough games and been around the game enough to know that when you see a team that is like on it, it's like, they didn't win today. We happened to win Brentford, but they're a bloody good team.
Yeah.
Whereas this team,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I did think that. I came away just thinking they're not gelling at all. There's no cohesion, it feels, at this present moment. And look, it might sound like an overreaction because teams can go on losing runs, but this is a Liverpool team we expected to kick on because of the players that they brought in. But as you've pointed out, clearly some of them are finding it maybe a little bit tougher. Vert certainly is finding it tougher. Kerkez is finding it difficult at being in the Liverpool squad. Obviously, he's played in the Premier League, as you rightly pointed out. I mean, I think the one plus for Liverpool of the newcomers has been Ekatike. He's really done particularly well since moving over.
Yeah, and I think he's like he's a player that I think got Liverpool written on him. You know, you can play him in a wide area, you can play him through the middle. I can see him progressing to be a great Liverpool player. Whereas Wirtz at the moment really looks uncomfortable, And I don't know if his confidence is really low, whether he needs to go on the side and play in Gakpo's position for a little while, where he played a lot of games for Leverkusen, come in and off the left, just give him a bit of freedom. Because right in that nitty-gritty of like the humdrum of the Premier League, in the middle of the pitch, he's finding it difficult. He can't turn. He's making little tricks. He's giving the ball away. I wouldn't say he's a liability, but he's not at the top of his game. So
what would you do with him then if you were managing him?
I would take him out of the team.
Yeah.
I would just put him on the bench and say, well, look, you know, he's obviously an asset. He's obviously a great player. You're not going to kill him. I'd just say, look, I'm going to rest you until I get this team going again. And then I'm going to put you in. And then you need to deliver. Because, you know, up until this point, the team hasn't performed, but then nor have you. So there's a catch-22 there. But, you know, you still, when you look at their squad, when you look at Gomez could come in, okay, could sort that central area. Gravenbach will be back. You know, Frimpong might be an answer down that right side when he comes back from his injury. So, and Isaac might, you know, come in and suddenly start banging the goals in after a lot of fitness work on, you know, when they get his injury right. I'm sure they're going to bring him back. Alisson will come back. So don't think that Liverpool can't win this league. But just right at this moment, I agree exactly where you are, that the team looks unfamiliar with each other. Not so much unfamiliar to us. It is unfamiliar to us to see them look so open and so vulnerable. But I think they're unfamiliar with each other.
They've lost, as we say, 4 games in a row, which is the same number that they lost in the entirety of last season, which goes to show how shocking this little moment for them is.
I thought another key moment, which has been covered on talkSPORT. I mean, I heard a couple of shows at the weekend talking about this players' meeting that they had.
Yes.
Now, any ex-pro will tell you, and obviously I've been a football manager, but I've also been a pro myself. When you have those meetings, you usually get a positive result on the back of that. Do you know what I mean? Everyone kind of goes, right, you know, okay, let's put all that aside, all of his excuses. Yeah, let's just let's get on it. And that didn't happen. And I think that actually has turned into, might be a little bit of a negative. And I think if I was a journo, if I was working at the Sun, for example, our colleagues lower down, I might be going in there on the press conference on, when do they play a League Cup? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday. On the Tuesday on that press ring, I'll say, well, what happened to that team meeting, Arnie? What was all that about? Yeah, that team meeting, you still lost. You know what I mean? It kind of can turn, that's a sort of agenda.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, because
Media are good like that, aren't they?
Well, yeah, of course. We like to push things a little bit. But obviously they'd beaten Eintracht Frankfurt in midweek.
When they played well.
5-1. So that's why, as a Brentford fan going into that game last night, I was a little bit worried because I thought, typical, we're the next team that they're going to play and they're going to click and it's going to be... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that didn't quite work out. One thing I wanted to ask you is Arne Slot recently has been talking about the weaknesses, but openly talking about the weaknesses of his team, which is those long balls, the deep defending that other teams will do. Do you find that bizarre that he's actually being so open about that? Because clearly, obviously, if
it's irritating him.
Well, yeah, but if you're Keith Andrews, you're going to go, well, that's what we're going to do.
Correct. But my point being that sometimes as a Premier League manager, the irritation takes over your common sense.
Okay.
Right? Do you know what I mean? Your professionalism. It can slip to one side. You've got something you want to get out there. And he's obviously frustrated with it and probably finds it ugly. You know, he's a Dutch coach. You know, he's used to the beautiful game. You know, the Dutch have always been the best coaches in the world.
Yeah.
You know, you only got to speak to a Dutch coach. They'll tell you that, how brilliant they are. And therefore, I'm sure that ugly side of the game, which actually the British game is very good at, not just the English, but the Scotch are not bad at it as well, you know, and the Welsh and the Irish. So, you know, we're good at that. We're good at all those ugly parts of the game. And actually that has taken a bit of a front row seat, isn't it, this year in the Premier League? So Arnie's better get used to it.
We should obviously give credit. We have to give credit to Brentford.
Go on, you do it.
Well,
no, do you want me to do it?
Well, what I'll say is Keith Andrews has come in for a little bit of stick. You know, if you go back to the start of, even before the start of the season when he was appointed, very much one of the favourites to go down. Yeah. That's not, obviously, I'm not saying Brentford are safe, but currently they're 11th in the table with 13 points from their opening 9 games. And I think they've done better than maybe some would have thought. What I really liked about that lineup last night was he stuck with the winning team from the game against West Ham, where they played brilliantly. No changes. and it was a back four. Now, normally when we take on a team that you would describe as obviously of a higher level,
Yes.
we have a back five.
Okay.
Which I understand that, because obviously you're hoping that the back five will be able to stave off the attacks. But I liked that he went with a back four, which in my mind I'm thinking, Arne Slot, Liverpool are looking at that thinking, hang on, they're in for a game here. They know that we have a few issues at the back here. So we're going 4-3-3 Brentford. And we knew if we get them behind, we're going to cause them problems. And we ran them ragged. And it was brilliant to be there. The atmosphere, I
Keith
thought, was
Andrews
fantastic.
like to send you the game plan? Or
No.
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 I'm going to tell you something about Keith Andrews that I like, right? So when he got the job, I didn't know him very well. I've seen him on Sky, and I always thought he looked confident. And people would say to me, a bit arrogant, a bit overconfident. Now, I don't even take this negatively, because that used to get an accusation that was thrown at me, right?
Right.
As a manager. But I actually like the fact that he has that, because there's no fear in him. And I think that will serve him well. And I hope that doesn't get knocked out of him, because it's the sort of thing that I remember, like, I used to think, oh, I better tone it down a little bit. You know, maybe you know, maybe I'm going, overstepping the mark. And I did occasionally, as we all know. But I do like the fact that he kind of stands on that sideline, as you say,
I've been doing this for years.
this is my stage. This is where I'm meant to be.
My turf.
My turf, and I'm going to do it my way. And I like that about him. And I hope he doesn't listen to those, because they all come. You know, when he starts losing game, that'll throw him. And Arteta's obviously had that as thrown him as well. He's arrogant and, you know, up and down the line, running around. Got something going on though, hasn't he? Self-confidence is a very big part of being a Premier League manager. And I've been around enough Premier League managers to know not many of them are shy, retiring types.
That doesn't surprise me at all. All right, then. So that was what happened in that Saturday night football. On the way.
Great game, by the way.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I thought the neutrals must have loved it as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure Liverpool fans didn't.
And Everton fans.
Yes.
Had a tough day.
But it was, I thought, an up and down game, and it kind of had pretty much plenty of talking points within it as well. We will reflect on more of the weekend's action in just a few minutes here on The Final Word. This is the final word on talkSPORT with me, Natalie Sawyer, and experienced football manager Alan Pardew. Let's take a look back on Sunday's 5 huge Premier League games, shall we? And we're going to start with Arsenal hosting the club Alan played for and managed, Crystal Palace. Just the 1 goal needed for Arsenal to settle this one at the Emirates, and it just so happened that it was a certain Ebe Eze that got the goal against his
Great
former
goal, by the
side.
way.
It was a nice goal, wasn't it?
No, the way he's adjusted and caught that, like he actually, I think he shinned it a little bit, but he had to adjust his body. It wasn't an easy take at all, and it was a great goal. And very respectful to the Crystal Palace fans with his, that's, and everyone has an opinion about that. Should he celebrate? Shouldn't he celebrate? Well, I'm not even bothered personally, but he's just a top man, him, and I think he's going to be crucial if Arsenal win the league. You can bet your life Eze will be a big part of it, and he played a part today.
Do you think then, looking at this current Arsenal squad, that they are the best equipped they've ever been under Arteta to perhaps now go on and win the title?
Well, if you take my opinion away just for a second, you ask any Arsenal fan, they'll say 100% that's true.
Yeah.
And obviously the depth that they have is illustrated today with the captain not being there, Almagro not in the team, etc., and still have enough to win against the Crystal Palace team that don't get beat often. They really don't. I mean, they lost, they've lost 2 games, 18 games in the Premier League or something ridiculous. Fantastic record. So, yeah, they're there. That Gyökeres, okay, he's not getting, the 7-8 goals that perhaps, Arsenal fans would have expected maybe him to have if he really hit the ground running. But he's making enough impact in the team, and his goals will come. So, yeah, I mean, at the moment, as it stands, obviously, I think Pep said something in the week. Experts and pundits and ex-players all talk about, the crisis after 6-7 games where the league table doesn't really take shape until you're at 10, 15 games in.
Right.
So, but we're not far away, and Arsenal having that little cushion certainly puts them in the driving seat, in the Lando Norris seat. Who's in first at the moment by 13 seconds.
Yes, as you keep watch. It's interesting you mentioned Victor Gyökeres, just quickly on him. He scored a couple of goals, obviously, in midweek in the Champions League. But one of the things, as much as you rightly say, you'd like to think he hit the ground running, that he'd be scoring goals for fun, perhaps, already. But there's more to his game than just that, because he is a threat that other teams will want to marshal. The fact that he can draw defenders away opens up space for his teammates.
Correct. And he's quite a willing runner down the sides of defences. So he's not just that kind of, because he's a big unit. He's a strong unit. You can play into him and play off him, but he will go down the sides. He'll run down the sides. And I think the first game against Liverpool, he looked a little bit one-paced. But I think that was probably, nerves and everything else of playing for Arsenal. He's starting to loosen up a little bit. I think he looks actually a little bit quicker at the moment. And I think he's going to do great. I'm a big fan of his. So I think he'll do great for Arsenal. I really do. And, ironically, what about Potter taking the Swedish job this year with Gyökeres is Swedish, of course.
Oh, yes.
Isaac is Swedish.
That's right.
What an opportunity that is. And I wanted to wish him well at that opportunity. So good luck, Graham, on that one.
Yeah, brilliant appointment. And we'll see how he gets on.
Yeah,
exactly that. We should also point out Arsenal, 3 goals conceded in the Premier League, which is remarkable after 9 games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everybody talks about the goalkeeper and the back 4 there as being the strongest in the Premier League, and I don't really doubt that. Yeah.
We'll move on to a defeat for Manchester City. They went to Aston Villa.
Strange.
And lost that one by a 0-0. Matty Cash getting the only goal in that game as well. It's a 3rd defeat now for Manchester City this season. It leaves them 5th in the table. Just when you think they're going to get going, they now suffer a defeat like this.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I actually thought that was. I mean, Aston Villa are in good form, by the way. They picked up.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're talking about a manager who's had huge success, particularly in Europe. So he knows that transition from European football to the weekend. He can get that just right. He knows how to pick his team. He knows who to leave out, how many to leave out, who to stay with. in that round kind of way. I don't know if Man City had some real after effects of their victory in the week, but that was I genuinely thought that was a bit of a blow, and I think Arteta would have looked at that game and thought, wow, what a result that is. What a result. Because, you can't but fear Man City are going to make a challenge. I think there's a big challenge in them. I really do, even though they've got beat today.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, because having seen Liverpool lose the day before, essentially, or on Saturday, they would have looked at this game at Villa as a massive opportunity to close the gap.
Yeah.
And had they have won that game, they would have been on 19 points, just a couple of points off Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at, when you look at them this season, in terms of the quality of offensive players they've got, I'm a little bit worried about the goal scoring. Haaland obviously is like really on, he's on form, but he's still going to need others to pitch in.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a lack of when Man City were winning titles, they was all contributing, weren't they, from all kinds of areas. Sterling would pop up and get a great goal, etc., etc. I just wonder whether there's enough round Haaland for them to win it. But they're going to need to find someone to step up to the plate. He's played Bob and Savinio today, and Foden through the middle. And that obviously didn't contribute to many goals. He has so much ammunition on the bench. Cherki, Doku, Marmoush, who has been very quiet for a while. So, there is potential, but I think Pep needs to see it on the pitch, not just coming through that central area, but coming from the sides and coming from midfield. Goals, I mean.
Yeah, that does feel like there's an over-reliance on him at this present moment, that is for sure. He has been absolutely prolific, as we know, for club and country this season. To the late kickoff where Tottenham put 3 past Everton to move up to third in the table. Thomas Frank's side now won 5 of their 9 games in the Premier League. When you look at Tottenham right now and how Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea, in fact, have fared this weekend, all losing. Can you look at a Tottenham side and actually think they might actually challenge for the top 4 at least? Or not? You're pensive, you're thinking about it. You're not sure.
Well, I thought you was going to say for the title.
No.
That's what threw me.
No.
And I was going to say no.
For the top 4.
But for the top 4, yes, I think they are a contender. Because I look at Chelsea, who are a complete mystery to me, Chelsea. I don't know. I never know. If someone says to me, would you like to bet on a Chelsea win? I'm not a betting man, but I wouldn't like to, no. I don't feel ever comfortable that they're going to win. I always feel that they're going to slip up somehow. I don't know why. That's just the way they are. They're so unpredictable and yet have a quality about them, perhaps more so than Spurs. I just think the manager of Spurs, in Thomas Frank, has more experience, more nous, and can deliver more for the team so they're more than their parts. Does that make sense? I think he makes more than their parts. Gotcha. So that's why I think they're a contender. Individually, I would say I don't think they are. I don't think their squad is as good as 4 or 5 other teams, but because of the manager, I think they've got a chance.
And as for Everton, then, that was their 4th loss of this season. Do you have any concerns about them, especially up front, getting goals?
Yeah, well, you got to have concerns, and I think Everton fans will have concerns, particularly this evening when you've played at home and you haven't scored. And there was a couple of really good chances today, which would have frustrated Moisey because, I think, is it the overhead kick when it was like 2-0 or whatever? It was a big chance for them and it was a great save. But I think, Everton are in no danger for me of a relegation. I don't see that at all. I don't see them challenging for European places purely because of the point you're making. I just don't think there's enough goals.
Okay. Bournemouth are one of the surprise packages so far this season. They're up to second. They beat Nottingham Forest 2-0.
Everybody's other team
home.
At the moment.
That feels like it.
Yeah.
Antonio Iraola out of contract at the end of this season, which will be a massive concern to Bournemouth fans. They'll hope, though, they can keep hold of him, certainly. But a couple of goals. Well, I say there was a set-piece goal in this one from a corner. There was also set-piece goals elsewhere, too. And I know there's just a thing about set pieces right now and how teams are using it to their advantage.
Yeah, I was, thinking back to an era when set plays had such a prominent role. And you can go right back to the Crazy Gang, of course, the 80s and 90s, Dave Bassett, Bobby Gould, Joe Kinnear. That was a team that really kind of powered their way through games with aggression and set play. Bolton in the mid-2000s under Big Sam. Although he had a lot of flair in the team, they were brilliant at set plays. Kevin Nolan, do you remember? He scored 20 goals, I think, in the Premier League one year for Bolton. And then obviously Tony Pulis at Stoke. Whenever you played Stoke, there wasn't particularly a great spectacle, but Tony's teams were set up so strong. They had flair in them, but set plays was massive for them. And they bought players to be big at set plays, and they were very difficult to defend. And so their team was heavily reliant on Everton and David Moyes under Moisey the first time round. And then obviously more latterly, probably Sean Dyche's Burnley, when he had Woods there and a few others, and they were nicking goals, from set plays and keeping themselves strong in the division. But this year, across the board, I mean, long throws, wow, they really have. And I mean, I remember doing long throws and being really criticised for it. And then, the purists of the football, teams were set up with set plays, and Arsenal are going to get this as we go along in the season. The real purists will be like, they're a set play team. They're all about this, and they're boring. They're this, they're that. But actually, it's a fundamental part of the game. I think it will naturally subside. This era, this moment that we're having,
right,
where it's really relevant. I mean, this weekend has just been off.
Well, it's been ramped up, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, your guys throwing it. I mean, I can think of like 8 Premier League teams who I think are doing illegal throw-ins, which we talked about, where their momentum is taking them onto the pitch for 10 yards after they've thrown it. I don't get it. So, I think it's important that you're very good at set plays, defensively and offensively, and second phase, we call it second phase, and sometimes even third phase. What we mean by third phase is, it goes in, it gets headed out, you win that ball, and then it's a shot, and then you win the next phase, or you score from that particular part of the game. So they're essential. And the makeup of your set plays at the moment are going to be really under the spotlight. And of course, over the last 5 years, I can think of, every team now has a set play coach.
I was just about
to say. And obviously they're improving. They're not going to retract. They're going to get more prevalent because they're going to get more of a role. And when teams are winning, like teams are winning today, even Arsenal's goal was a second phase set play.
Yeah, it's a weapon. That's what teams are using right now to get those wins, certainly. Okay, on the way, we will, of course, be revealing our mystery footballer. And that is all before Danny Kelly and the Trans-Euro Express comes your way here on talkSPORT. We're also going to talk about Sheffield Wednesday. That's on the final word on talkSPORT.
Yes.
is the final word here on talkSPORT, and it's time to reveal our mystery footballer. We're just going through the songs once more. So you heard Robbie Williams there with Rock DJ. This is Genesis, Throwing It All Away, and the one that I think many of us were going... by Rory, and I think
Be a female.
oh, okay, but that in itself, Rory, probably is a big clue.
But it was homage to obviously this weekend being the long throw weekend.
That's right.
Which was the moment that Rory Delap kind of had that nailed down, didn't he?
Yeah.
For about 4 years.
Everyone's
He
like,
used to-
oh, Rory Delap.
I
Brilliant.
remember him taking a throw in front of me, which was about, and the coaching box was like 20 yards from the halfway line. So it was like halfway between the halfway line and the goal. And the wind and rain was lashing at Stoke, and this ball just torpedoed and was going left, right as it went in the box. It was awesome. But yeah, Rory Delap, he was not only a great throw-in taker, very good player.
There you go. But he's very much in vogue right now with all the long throws that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So that was it. And the first person
We're
to
going
get it
we're
right.
going to get a long throw coach soon. That's what Premier
Well,
League.
they do have throwing coaches.
No, they have a throwing coach. I think Klopp
Okay.
did it, but you're going to get a long throwing
Do you know
coach
what?
soon.
You say that. Brentford actually had that throwing coach first.
Ah,
So you know
there
that.
you go.
The first person to get it right, by the way, was Scott from Durham. So well done,
Well done,
to
Scott.
you. We've got to bring you a quick update on what's happening at the Mexico F1 Grand Prix. Here's talkSPORT's John Jackson.
Yeah, speaking of throwing it all away, it's really Lando Norris's race to throw away. He's got a 16-second gap, well, nearly 17-second gap over Charles Leclerc on the 38th lap of 71. Everything very much going in Lando Norris's favour. As I mentioned, Charles Leclerc second, with Ollie Behrman third in the running. I mean, this is ridiculous. This could be his first podium in Formula One. He's third because Lewis Hamilton got a 10-second penalty. I mentioned it before. He was under investigation. He was deemed to have gained an advantage by going off the track. His team probably should have told him to maybe slow down a bit and not go under the radar a little bit and not get a penalty. However, he had to come in. He served that 10-second penalty before his pit stop. And as for Max Verstappen, he's just gone into the pits and he is down in 8th place at the moment out on the track. So it's Lando Norris leading ahead of Charles Leclerc. And could we see Ollie Behrman on the podium, a future world champion, according to Alan Pardew? It could be his day for the Haas.
Go on, Ollie.
Brilliant. We wanted to give a shout out to Sheffield Wednesday, but we've run out of time.
Well, anyway,
I knew you were going to say that. Do you want to say it?
200,000 spent in the club shop, 27,000 at the game. Unbelievable, their fans. Unbelievable. What a great effort it was.
Yeah,
To show how they feel. Good for them.
Yeah, despite being put into administration, sadly. The fans, though, coming out in force, mainly because, effectively, Dafon Chanziri's ownership is over. That is it for us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
very
Nat,
much.
for standing
Been
in.
fun. Oh,
Brilliant job.
I've enjoyed it. Tomorrow on The Breakfast Show, it's back from 6 o'clock with Super Ali McCoy's reunited with Jeff Stelling, and they'll be joined by 5-time Olympic gold winner and legendary Tour de France cyclist Bradley Wiggins. And Madge and The Final Word returns next Sunday, but coming up next here on talkSPORT, it is time for all the latest from across the continent with Trans-Euro Express.